What is up, everyone? What is up? How's it going? God damn, that was even loud for me. I think I hit my slider up. What's up, Bedrock? What's up, Vampire? How's it going? It's time for Drunk Stream. Let's go. Yeah, we'll start that off. I'm still banned from posting on TikTok Live temporarily until March 25th at 8:30 p.m. 8:38 specifically. Yeah, I checked it in. So we did get some confirmation as to what TikTok classified as hate speech. My agent confirmed this. They will not let me appeal the entire thing because they're still holding up the hate speech and hateful activities. TikTok doesn't really understand what hate speech actually means. So they're classifying, I can say it on here, motherfucker, shit, dumb, shut up. Like, a lot of phrases we do in a daily, everything. Like, the only thing my agent told me that I agree with was the N-word. Which obviously I will never say that. That is not appropriate in any single... Oh yeah, and noob. That N-word is okay with me. But you know what I mean by the N-word, okay? The N-word slur. That specific one. That one is a no-go, whether you're in here, whether you're on my Discord, whether you're on my social media. That is an inappropriate word no matter what. And yeah, so TikTok will not let me on. Anyway, so I've been doing some long and hard thinking. Giggity. And I'm going to definitely, I know I've said this a million times, but I'm definitely leaning into making more YouTube content. So my TikTok content, if anything, is probably going to be clips from my YouTube and Twitch moving forward, with very few dedicated posts to TikTok. Even though it's the main breadwinner, it's too inconsistent. So, for those of you that didn't see, I released my first YouTube video in a few weeks. That is the new format I'm taking, which is why it was so short. There was no sponsor, segment in it. It was literally just me sitting down, trying out the new format with the new camera and the teleprompter. If you've seen the new video on Mozilla, what do you think of, not specifically the content, we can discuss that as well, but I'm curious what everyone thought of that style, because that was the first video I've sat down and made a script for it, read the script, because the problem was before, I was reading off this screen here, and it felt too disconnected from the audience. Like, when I went to watch the video back, that I never put out another video when I scripted it before. Noob. My PC is being good. It can stream 1080p, however, GPU not good. Oh yeah, so speaking of which, that video that I did on Mozilla Firefox that I put on YouTube this afternoon, that was all edited as part of a test on my new laptop. And here's the even bigger kicker. I didn't even turn the NVIDIA GPU on in it. I used the AMD Radeon 780M that's built into the Ryzen 7 8845HS. It was edited, it was rendered, all completely on an AMD CPU GPU, the integrated side of it. And I was freaking blown away. Now, unfortunately, I will still need the NVIDIA GPU, for DaVinci Resolve, because it needs it. Turn it on stream and edit some things. So the problem is, unfortunately, while it can do all the editing and everything, it won't output video to an external monitor from the internal GPU. The NVIDIA GPU is hardwired to the external display part of it. So that is the one downside with it. as to compared, say, my other laptop over here, the System 76 Pangolin, this guy has a AMD Ryzen 7 5700U, and because it only has an AMD GPU in here, I can output from the HDMI in here, and it will be no problem. I don't have to, like, run the NVIDIA GPU. So, but I will put that on in another day, because it finally, like, just before the stream started, finished downloading Wukong. So I got Wukong and Doom Eternal on it, which we're going to be using for testing on the laptop for performance, because the screen in it has a 240 hertz adaptive sync display with that NVIDIA 4070. So I'm going to try to see how I can capture the video. I may have to run OBS in the background and record the screen to do some comparisons. But yeah, edit with Mint Pocket Reform. Well, I will try it once I actually get the backplate for it, which I haven't heard from PCBWay, so I'm probably going to hit them up on Monday and ask them what's up with the aluminum backplate that we're planning to install on that. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks I can get around to recording a video about the Tuxedo Computers laptop that I got for YouTube, now that I've used it for a few weeks. So next stream we might be doing Black Myth Wukong as part of the testing to see how well the video card is inside that and the cooling performance. We'll hook it up to the capture card in here on this stream box so we can run it through. Have you seen NPU for laptop? A neural processing unit? I haven't played with the NPUs too much, but yeah. So it'll be fun to play with that laptop online. I haven't played any video games with it. I've just been using it for work-related stuff. Oh, and then what I also did was, I don't know if you paid attention to my Blue Sky and Discord and Mastodon. So I've been slowly switching away. So I had a VPN account set up with private internet access. And part of the reason I stayed with them for a while was, I'm going to wait till this ad break ends. So, chug, chug, chug! Don't worry, it's not alcohol, it's just an energy drink. Look, Chief needs caffeine, and I'm too lazy to make coffee right now, so... Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so, a couple of years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, can you get a Pocket Reform motherboard that ain't all copper? It's not the motherboard, as I've explained. It's the backplate. So, the backplate on the MNT Pocket Reform is this PCB copper, combination. You can see from the logo, there's copper infused into the PCB. That's the issue. That's the issue for the wireless impedance, as well as, God damn, the fan's not on here. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the fan on over here because it's a little bit warm. Damn it. Moving my damn crates in front of the fucking wind flow. Make sure. Do we got wind flow? Yes, we have wind flow. It's getting to be that time of the year where I have to worry about being cool in the house. So for me, the GPU is the downside of the PC. I will use it till it dies. Yeah. Wait, what happened? We're making noise thanks to Prism with their support. Wait, what? Did somebody just follow or something and it missed it? It's funny how they started to go after Elon instead of Trump. Not really. I wouldn't say I'm a neck beard. I actually shaved that shit. In fact, I just came back from a waxing appointment. I get my eyebrows, my nose, and my ears waxed, about every month or so. Hey, Prisms, how's it going? Um, where was my brain before I stepped into that ADHD help hole? Well, of course they go after Elon before Trump. So here's what you have to understand. Trump got elected in huge part due to the dollars that Elon Musk was injecting into Donald Trump's campaign. Donald Trump notoriously has businesses that just fail completely. The guy's declared bankruptcy, I think, 2 or 3 times, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the exact time, but I do know there's bankruptcy. He's had issues with paying employees and all of that. Elon Musk, on the other hand, has most of his wealth tied up in Tesla. And Tesla, for many years, has been selling fairy dust and unicorns for a lot of people. And like this is apparently what investors have been saying since the 90s, when he had the original X.com, which got bought out or merged with PayPal. It's part of the reason he got kicked out of PayPal, was he was promising the moon, the sun, and the stars, but it wasn't actually, realistic. So yeah, ever used USB over network? It's a thing. I've tinkered with it, but not really. Why do people message me in the middle of my stream? For electronic. Oh yeah. We are going to be talking about this though. So there is a legitimate concern preparing for electronic device searches at United States borders. So there has been an uptick in consideration for devices being searched at U.S. borders. As someone that has crossed borders many times for business and friends, that's always been something in the back of my mind. Even though, let's make this very clear. The argument you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear is bullshit. Everyone has things they want to keep private, and it's not the government's damn business what I communicate with my personal friends and things like that. Apparently, they've even been holding up people who were not immigrants, tourists, or people that were here on business, on visas, permanent visas, work visas, whatever, because of some personal political posts with views like basically just opposing Trump. Nothing malicious. Nothing malicious at all. Just basically saying they don't agree with Trump. They don't agree with the policies. They don't agree with, what he's done to certain industries and all that. I think, if I recall, there was a German citizen that was detained. I was reading up about. There's, people that are illegal that have been arrested and all that. It's been a serious concern. What is stopping you from creating a disk image, upload it to a cloud, and restore it from the other side of the ocean? Well, the infrastructure around that. I mean, think about how much space you'd need to store that, the bandwidth around that. Not to mention the inconvenience side of it. A lot of my work I do while I travel, too. When I'm on a plane, I do work. Whether it's studying, whether it's reading up on news, whether it's working through an idea while I'm traveling. Because think about it this way. If you're on a plane, you're going to be on there from anywhere from 6 to 12 hours, depending on where you're going for travel. Maybe longer. And that's time that, yes, a good chunk of it I'm going to use for sleeping to catch up on jet lag and everything. But also, that's time I could potentially be using to prepare other work. And then not to mention, can you necessarily trust the hotel network that you're going to be installing everything on? When it comes to a lot of secure practices, what you want to do is do all your system updates and everything before you travel. Can you necessarily travel airport Wi-Fi and everything? I don't know if I could. A lot of people don't. Money for a framework laptop and what they're looking for. They're looking for anything and everything. Now, they're making the argument that if you're not a United States citizen, you don't have rights, which is bullshit. But as a United States citizen, under their eyes, you still have rights. It's a bit dystopian that they're blocking as much as they are. Or at least looking for, I'm sorry, not blocking. They're looking for people's personal views, not extremist things. It's one thing for you to say that you are endorsing terrorism, or you are embracing and endorsing violent acts. It's another thing for you to say, like, let me put it this way. They're going after pro-Palestinian activists who have done nothing violent, who have done nothing wrong except express their own First Amendment right to freedom of speech, freedom of assembly. And whether you agree or not with the Palestinian side of things, you have to agree that that is their right. Just as much as you don't have to agree necessarily with the Israeli side, but that is their right. But it is dumb that the government, at least under Trump, is more favoring the Israeli side of the arguments than the just staying in the neutral and saying, look, you all are entitled to your views and everything. God damn it. Why are people blowing up my phone now? I am just about ready to, like, chuck my phone. Because, like, my phone's been quiet all fucking damn day. And then everyone decides to, blow me up. Go figure. Stick the USB in your prison way. That doesn't do anything. What, you're gonna shove a USB up your asshole? Yeah, that doesn't look any more suspect. I think you forget when you go and travel, you have the whole body scanner that you go through, or an x-ray. Either way, that shit's gonna light up like a Christmas tree. It ain't like you're shoving, drugs up your asshole. That shit can be seen by a metal detector, let alone the body scanner. What's up, Hans? How you doing? Or, what you should be thinking is not the worry about, like, oh, what do I do to hide it? But the fact that this is actually something we have to consider in the first place. So there is good news that was revealed earlier to lean more into the argument of I'm going to be using Graphene OS probably as my primary device. Hold on, let me find the article. It was talked about in my Discord the other day. Once again, the Cellbrite Matrix has been released off of the devices that they can backdoor. And they still can't get into the Graphene OS phones. Graphene OS is still not vulnerable to Cellbrite. They've been trying for years to figure this out. Appears the documents have leaked online in multiple places. Yep. So they have said, by far, a Google Pixel with Graphene OS is still the most secure option overall. Which leans into, I have to get around with starting my tinkering and everything. I did get my Google Pixel Watch 2 last week. I bought a used one off of eBay. I'm going to be connecting it into my Graphene OS phone, my Pixel 7a, and I'm going to be doing tinkering to see about moving from Apple as my primary device. And I'm not doing it because primarily this reason. My reason for moving away from Apple as a whole has basically been I've been shifting that way for many years. For those of you not aware, I used to be a huge lover of Apple products. I mean, I've talked about how I've rocked an iPod and I finally got rid of that, and now I'm using a Tangara music player. This is one of my oldest Apple devices. Right up there with my Apple Airport Express. I used to love the airport system they had. And then, of course, the famous MacBook. Was a big user of that, and then this was my last MacBook I had. This was the 2011 MacBook. Which is now used more as a doorstop because it's got like the perfect weight. But the last Apple device I'm still using is the iPhone. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've been using an iPhone since the first iPhone, and it is out of the box still one of the most secure and private devices. However, Apple hasn't been innovating for quite a few years. And that's been worrying me. Why am I paying a premium on Apple devices when there's not really anything new? The Android ecosystem is definitely innovating. And can they make you log into your laptop? Wait, what? Yeah. Yeah, they can make you log in. I don't think you understand what I mean by they are doing searches at the border. They are making you unlock your phone, and apparently for people that are foreign to the country, disclose all their social media and everything. This is not the America that I knew and loved that, allowed you to have freedom of speech. Under Trump, it's gotten a little bit dystopian. Who knows where this will end up being, but for the foreseeable future, it's, not great. Anyway, Apple fan since the fappening. So the fappening, here's the interesting thing about that. That wasn't Apple's fault per se. What I mean by that is Apple iCloud was apparently not compromised. That was the result of celebrities not having secure passwords. They either got phished, they either had weak passwords, or whatnot. I'm not by any means trying to victim blame here. It is still unfortunate that thing happened, and I don't think anyone should go searching out those specific materials because it's non-consensual material. It's just one of those, it's crossing ethical lines. Maybe not necessarily legal lines for you to go view it, but it's an ethical thing for me. I still haven't seen any of that content whatsoever, nor do I intend to. But it is a very important lesson that celebrities should have surrounded themselves with experts to better protect themselves. These are, very, in many cases, wealthy individuals that can afford and probably do have their own teams around them to support their own infrastructures and everything. And in this day and age, you can't really skimp on cybersecurity. Now, the fappening happened, about a decade ago? It was phishing? Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, it's a very unfortunate situation of what happened there. But when it comes to Graphene OS and why I'm leaning more towards that way, it's more so that I want to lean away from Apple. Just like in many years ago, I de-Googled myself. What I mean by de-Googled myself is I used to have a Gmail that I used to use heavily. And then one day I woke up and I made my own email server, and then I moved everything over to that. Now, that was an arduous process, do not get me wrong. It took me a good solid, I'd say, the heavy lifting was probably the first couple of weeks. And then the several months after that were a little bit more lifting and everything like that. But it took about a year of sustained effort in multiple facets for me to de-Google myself. And it did give me the freedom, finally, that when I still was not happy with the fact... So the main reasons I moved away from running my own email server were multifaceted. One, running your own email server is kind of a pain in the butt to make sure you have deliverability of your email consistently. Unless you have your own IP ranges and everything, my email server used to be on DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean at least knew I had a good reputation with them, that my account was never in bad standing, that after so many reports of bad actors, because I had to stay on top of any time Spam House or other blacklists would come up with my IP, I would work with them, and they would look through the systems. They eventually blocked me off in a good way. They gave me my own block of IPs because I was like such an old customer and my IP was in good standing. They just didn't let anyone interfere with that block so that I wouldn't get blacklisted. And getting an email server approved on a lot of systems requires now prior approval to DigitalOcean, Linode, AWS, things like that. And you can run your own system in your own house, but then, it's the matter of you have to run your own hardware, you have to maintain it, you have to make sure there's uptime, all that. If your internet goes down, there's so many different issues. It's a lot to maintain. Did I use a standalone solution like Mail-in-a-Box? I used Mail-in-a-Box. I'm actually mutuals with Josh Data on Mastodon. Really good dude. I have no negative things to say about Mail-in-a-Box as a project. Still a very solid project. My issues with running an email server weren't specific to Mail-in-a-Box, but they were issues around hosting my Mail-in-a-Box. Because you had to make sure that server was running. You had to make sure it was reliable. You had to make sure the IP was clean. You had to make sure your IP was accepted by everyone you wanted to have receive your email. So you had to be on top of, I remember I had to send requests to Microsoft, Google, Yahoo, AOL, every provider you think of for email, even the ones you're not even aware of, so that my emails could go through because I would send it and get blacklisted. After a while, I just said, you know what, this is too much work. Now, the beauty of owning your own domain is then I could take that domain and point it at another email host. So what I did is I migrated everything over to Proton Mail at the time. And I also do use Tuda as well. I have several different emails through several different providers because there's a situation in my mind of what happens if one provider is down. I'll be talking about that in a little bit in the future. Because I also managed to get, I'm in talks right now with Tuda for sponsorship. So we're just figuring out that. But yeah. Anyway, so I moved over to my own email server, from my own email server because of the headaches there. But once I was de-Googled, it was just a matter of transferring my email to a new host, then pointing the DNS records, because all the heavy lifting had been done years ago. So as far as use this email at timmy@acme.corp or whatever, had already been done years ago. So the email addresses, all the emails still kept coming through. It was just a matter of relinking, moving the DNS over, then resyncing the box. Now, the reasons why I moved away from running my own email server were deliverability issues because of the infrastructure I was using. The other issue was Mail-in-a-Box. I don't know if they've fixed this, but I wanted to get multi-factor authentication into my email inbox. Because the issue is, while you can shore up things with fail to ban, you can shore them up with, preemptively downloading blacklists from iBlocklist and, all the different blacklisting services out there. It doesn't necessarily stop people from trying to brute force your system to figure out your actual password and everything. And if that happens, I need another layer on top of that with multi-factor authentication. And I really wanted to use my YubiKeys. So that was a big driver into using that, as well as just, I got tired of being like, why is my email not working? Oh, now I got to go log in and spend an hour or two of troubleshooting the actual server. It gets to be a little bit much. So, with that being said, I've pretty much been de-Googled that I have a Google account in terms of like, yes, I have a Google account for YouTube, but I don't have a Gmail, if that makes sense. I don't use Gmail, but I use Google services for some things. Now, in terms of the Pixel, I like the Pixel phones. I'm not a fan of stock Android in the Google way because, let me put it this way. This Samsung over here that I do my TikTok content on, all of this is a chatty bitch on my network. Like, if you ever pull up the networking on your systems when you're running a stock Android phone, for the most part, I'm not talking about the niche systems like, a Fairphone with EOS or a Nothing phone, the ones that actually do remove a lot of the chattiness on a network where it's snitching on you a lot. I'm talking about the average everyday phone most people are probably using. Samsung, Pixel. There's probably a few other brands out there like LG and, whatever. I'm not going to get too into naming everyone. These chat so much on your network, it's crazy. Like, to give you an idea, I've done comparisons with this iPhone, which will maybe do like kilobytes per minute of network data going to Apple, and this will do megabytes in the same period of time. Maybe not minutes, but if you like scope it down for an entire hour, you can definitely see like it's a huge difference between using a stock Android device and a an Apple iPhone. That's one of the main reasons I've stuck with them, as well as the Apple ecosystem of everything, because, I have an Apple Watch and everything. So I am going to be playing with the Graphene OS phone as my daily driver, seeing how I can transfer over things. I think I'm still going to be using Apple Music. The big lift and shift is going to be grabbing all of that data off of iCloud. My music, not my music, my photos, things like that, and moving them into another solution. I'm thinking of spinning up a Nextcloud. I am looking at solutions for managed Nextcloud hosts, primarily because I don't want to spend too much time tinkering with my own system. And if I get Nextcloud, that can handle potentially my contacts, my calendar, my photo, or, whatever backup. I may be using another one with Enti. What's up, Axel? Samsung and Google talks a lot. I can see it with DNSNet. Yeah, they are really chatty. So I got to figure out how I'm going to lift and shift all that stuff. Now, the good news is, price-wise, for the hosted services, it's going to be within the same price range as I was playing for iCloud plus or minus a few dollars. Now, I do like Apple Private Relay. That is one thing I will say. It is a nice feature, even if it's only specific to Apple Safari on iPhones. So, yeah. I hate Nextcloud for various reasons. For contact and address book, I use Radical DAV server, never going back to Nextcloud. Well, we'll see. I'm going to be playing with a few solutions. It's mostly about what will just work with what I need, because I'm pretty basic with a lot of my needs. Now, what would be great, and this is where I'm getting a little upset with Proton, and I'm going to call Proton out, and if some of y'all want to clip this, I would appreciate that, because I will put it on TikTok and YouTube Shorts later. Proton needs to stop focusing on bullshit apps like Proton Wallet. They need to start focusing on core features that actually matter. After several years of having their entire Proton suite, why is it I can't still use Proton contacts as my Android contact lists or sync my contacts in from my iPhone as appropriately. I should be able to use Proton Contacts as a, primary source of my contacts instead of iCloud. I should be able to use Calendar in Proton with my stuff. They should have never expensed this effort on Proton Wallet. That is a bullshit software that, I'm sorry, was a waste of time because they released that shit last year? Or when we've already had a decade of software wallets for Android and even now iOS and hardware wallets and everything already out there. You've got Exodus wallet, you've got MetaMask, you've got all these other things, and you think we really care about a wallet? Anyone that's going to be using cryptocurrency is not going to be really that going to be jumping towards Proton Wallet unless they're brand new to the whole thing. And at that point, it's just a waste of time because I would be steering anyone into a hardware wallet. Now, as far as, like what I said, Proton needs to focus on core features that allow us to use Proton Suite to displace Apple's ecosystem for contacts and calendar management, same as being able to displace Google's ecosystem for contacts and calendar management. I would love to use my Graphene OS phone, hook up my Proton system, and then just bam, contacts, boom, calendar, right there, and have it go in to my, Pixel Watch. It'd be great. That's where they need to focus their effort on. Because people want to get a private solution alternative to Apple. But Apple currently is still one of the easiest solutions to get all that done. If I could at least say, hey, get a Graphene OS, get Proton, you'll be there. Great. But now, I have to sit here and be like, I don't know if Proton is going to be the solution for my contacts and calendar because I can't natively use it in my phone. And let me make this very clear. If my phone and my watch can't alert my ADHD ass that I have a doctor appointment or I have, whatever, then it's fucking worthless to me. That's the honest truth. They need to focus on things that actually matter to the everyday user rather than this bullshit Proton wallet shit. Like, if I were them and I were actually at the, the making the decisions, I would say, I'm sorry, we wasted our effort here. Let's mothball the cryptocurrency side of it. We'll accept cryptocurrency as a payment, but yeah, let's focus on different things. Let's allow them to optionally have CalDAV and CarDAV. Or allow them to at least, when they install the app, to be able to integrate into, the Pixel Watch and phone. Yeah, that's the hill I will die on when it comes to that shit. Because, I think privacy is a right that everyone should have. And it should not be this fucking hard to get privacy. Especially in light of you had Apple take away the advanced protection or whatever features it was in the UK because the UK is surrounded by old fuckers that don't understand that end-to-end encryption is the new normal and the new standard. And I'm sorry law enforcement doesn't get access to it because by the virtue of you as law enforcement having access to our data, hackers and other nefarious actors also have access to that shit. No one, no matter the intention, good or bad, has the right to access our data. You want access to our data? Find an exploit with it. And then backdoor the device. Don't be a little bitch just because people are getting better at making better locks than you know how to pick them. And on that note, you want to know a big reason why federal law enforcement agencies, especially in the U.S., I don't know about overseas and stuff, are losing out so badly in terms of cybersecurity as I've been learning? One of my friends has applied to the FBI. The dude smoked weed. Okay? You cannot work for a federal agency if you smoke marijuana. I don't know about you, but if you haven't been to a cybersecurity conference, I'm going to guarantee you the majority, not the plurality, the majority of people in cybersecurity and IT as a whole are on some kind of drug. If it's not, the harder stuff, it's at least marijuana. How do I know this? The majority of people I know that are in the field actually have either are on stuff or have been on stuff. And once you apply to a federal, like the FBI, if I recall, and, you get denied for marijuana use or whatever, you can't apply again for 1 year. That is a big reason why the FBI can't keep up. You literally are not allowing people to do things that are mostly legal in most states because of the conflict between federal and state law. How effed up is that? So you have law enforcement kneecapping themselves because the best and brightest talent out there is the type to also spark one up. I don't know how else to explain it. But yeah, it is mind-blowing. Now, personally, I don't do this stuff. Not in a few years now. Because for me personally, it just didn't mesh well with my psyche and everything. It was one of those things I just woke up and I realized I'm not as productive as I want to be or anything like that. But by any means, I'm not against it being legal. It's just not for me. But hey, if it works for you, it works for you. Some people it works great for you. You need everyone needs a vice. But yeah. Ugh. Some people like wine. Some people want to spark one up at the end of the day. Some people want a beer. Look, if it ain't hurting anyone and you can manage and it's not harming yourself or others, power to you. But everyone has a different tolerance, a different temperament, I guess would be the word. I could be wrong. But yeah, anyway. Then also, I had leg day yesterday. So if you hear me groaning, it's because my legs hurt so much. My groin region is feeling like it's on fire. I'm sorry if that's a little graphic for y'all. But it hurts. It hurts. I'm trying to get back in shape. I have a gym in my house, as y'all know. You've seen me work out with the Bowflex and stuff like that and TikToks and been on streams before and stuff like that where I've been on the treadmill and everything. I've lost, since I started making content. I think at my peak I was 230, 235, somewhere around there. I'm now bouncing between 195 and 200. So I've lost a lot of weight. Now I just gotta do this guy over here. But I'm at the point where I want to get back into the gym because a lot of my gym was built during COVID when we had really no choice. And there's some pieces of equipment that I can't justify in my house, like a Stairmaster. You ever want to do a serious calorie burn, cardio-wise? Stairmaster. Which is what I did yesterday with my buddy. I was on a Stairmaster for 17 minutes, I think I did. Yeah, that was a lot. I also want to get one of those Bozu balls. Have you ever seen those? They're half of an exercise ball on a flat platform. And then if you do squats on that shit and other exercises, it fires your muscles in all sorts of different ways. That it's an extreme burn. You feel it. You do squats on that shit. Yeah. Hey, Scooby, 75 stream streak. Can't believe I've been streaming 75 times already. I've been streaming for a while. I feel like an old man. I'm an old man, an old streamer man. Probably not. I'm really not. I'm still a newbie in the whole sea of streamers and everything. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in the swing of making YouTube content and everything. Oh, I have another script I've already written for my next YouTube video. So the last YouTube video that I just released a few hours ago was kind of a test, more or less, in two ways. For those of you that didn't come in earlier. So I was testing out one, being able to, think of the following, say, I was doing a test in a couple of ways. One, I wanted to try making a script, because I have the Elgato teleprompter over here now, with the new updated camera that I did. I wanted to see the camera quality. I wanted to see the ability to do a pre-scripted video, and I wanted to see the ability for me to edit the video on my new laptop. Overall, I think it was a great success. The next video, I think, will be talking about how I think Apple has lost its way. And this will be talking about from the perspective of someone who's not an Apple hater, but a scorned Apple user that used to deploy Xserve and all that. Like, have you ever dealt with Apple Xserve? Have you ever seen those machines? Apple Xserve is, I think, something that Apple should have never let die. So, Apple Xserve was the series of, it was a series of servers that could be rack mounted. And they had some pretty powerful hardware in there. You had the G4 line. They had the Intel line for a while. You had the G4, G5s. You had the Intel Xserves. And at the time, these were pretty beastly systems. I love these. Like, you used to be able to deploy Apple computers. And you could get away with not needing, what's there to talk about? There's a lot. But you used to be able to use Apple Talk, and used to not need an Active Directory server to do centralized control with an Apple system. Now I find it so weird that Apple is designed to work with not just Microsoft Intune, but you use an MDM platform that talks to Microsoft Intune or, what is it? Active Directory. Have you seen them make 3D printable 3-inch rack? Yeah, I've seen the 3D printable 3-inch racks and stuff like that. I haven't seen the need to make one for myself, because I got my full, 15 or 18U rack in my system, and I just, throw my devices on there with PoE and everything. I may eventually make, a mini rack or something like that for something, but no. Oh, yeah, and, I don't know if I showed y'all this. So I have a new repo in my GitHub repository I haven't shared with y'all, and I've been testing it out on my laptop. So I got into this, and then I went on a tangent. So personally, I don't really like Apple. It's not that I don't like Apple. I don't like what Apple's become. Apple used to be amazing. They used to be the everything computer. I'll get into that on the YouTube video that I'm putting together. I just have to wait for... I have to refine the script and everything. Apple used to be the everything computer in the sense of... you want to make music? Get an Apple. You want to do video? Get an Apple. You want to do art design, graphic design? Get an Apple. You want to do video gaming? Get an Apple. You want to do word processing and, regular business things? Get an Apple. Like, you used to be able to get an Apple computer and it would do everything. And then Apple lost their way. And they started to shift more into a luxury and status symbol, focused more on margins of their products than the actual capability of their product. Where you've heard it, Apple doesn't innovate. They take what other people do and then make it a like refine it a little bit better and then sell it to the masses. Like I knew so many people that were like, well, I'm not really that interested in AR and VR. I'll wait till Apple comes out with their version. Where are all the people that wanted to use Apple Vision Pro? Where are all of you? Game with Apple? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you used to game heavily on an Apple. Gaming on an Apple computer was a thing. It was. Like, generally, almost every game up until, I'd say, like, the mid-2000s had a Mac version, a Windows version, and very often, too, a Linux version. Now, it did shift more towards gaming only on Windows because Apple shot themselves in the foot so many times. Like, nowadays, if you want a game on Apple, the developer has to pay like $100 for an Xcode license, whatever, and they have to compile the thing with Xcode. Whereas if you want to compile it with Windows, okay, you just get the Windows SDKs, all that, blah, 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 done. You want to do it in Linux, fire up a virtual machine, do the same thing, done. Mac, you have all these weird hoops to hop through. PS1 games were possible on Apple back in the day. I wouldn't believe... I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not convinced. Here. Can I find some old ones? Old videos. Yeah, the G5 was an actually really great system for gaming. I think a lot of these articles are just too new for it, because I'm thinking of like the late 2000s, and the latest I can find is like 2010s. But yeah, the iMac G3, G4, and G5s were really, really capable systems for gaming. Well, computers in general in the 2000s, you have to understand, were expensive, period. PS1 games did play on Apple. Here, hold on. Yeah, it's a thing. Well, now, of course, the articles are showing, like, PS1 on an iPhone. That's the problem with the internet. You know, like, new information gets piled on top that we forget about a lot of the older stuff. Ah, here we are. Steve Jobs had an official PlayStation 1 emulator for the Mac stores. 1999. Yep. PlayStation, Steve Jobs on Mac OS. Like I said, Apple was a killer station for gaming. They innovated on the MacBook. It's interesting to see an ARM processor in Endgame. Yeah, well, ARM's... I don't think Apple should have gone with ARM. ARM was basically the safe bet for Apple. They're just making full circle back to RISC. They started with PowerPC, which was a RISC CPU developed by IBM. Then they went to Intel for the stupid reason of, well, you know, IBM couldn't get the PowerPC to 3 gigahertz fast enough. Only for the heat issues in Intel and all that to basically kneecap Apple. Because they basically took the Intel CPUs, dropped it in a lot of chassis that were originally designed for PowerPC, and didn't reconfigure it. Because if you remember, Here, let's put it this way. I got a Mac right here. All right, notice the bottom here? Aside from the case, holes and everything, what's missing here? That all the other laptops I'm going to show you have. Venting. Here, let's pull up another laptop. This is an MSI. You got venting over here. There's little holes, you can't really see it. You can kind of from an angle. But there's little holes here to allow it to breathe, plus, of course, all the side venting and everything. Even the Cubes laptop that I use. Venting. If Apple had seriously just cut some slits in the bottom of the chassis, a lot of their venting issues would have gone away. Because the only way it breathes is through that slit. And all they're doing with ARM, and ARM, by the way, they still have overheating issues with the ARM CPU. If you think I'm fucking kidding, you know what the difference between the Mac Air and the Mac Pro is? A goddamn fan. Yeah, I use Cubes. I've been using Cubes for like 3-4 years. I'll have a dedicated video on it with my Cubes setup. I just haven't gotten around to making YouTube content properly as I should have for a while. There was some personal stuff coming on. I do think Apple could have done better if they had gone with RISC-V, spent a few years innovating on that, because that would have at least been genuinely innovative. Mac Air can fly. Yeah. Now, I do have people that keep telling me to, you know, it's funny how many people are like, you've never used a MacBook, you know, with the M series. Those things are super fast. I use them at work. I have to for testing. Because, you know, we have some Mac clients and everything. But here's the reality. Apple M series CPUs can't run a lot of my workloads. They can't. They really can't. You have Asahi Linux, which is probably the closest thing, but I can't run full Linux. And even then, there's some support issues with that platform. You can't find the Cubes video on your channel. Because there isn't one on YouTube, it's on TikTok. I talked about it a lot on TikTok. There will be one on YouTube coming in the near future. I just have to sit down, script that, and then get around to doing it. I'm just right now working through a backlog of other ideas and content that I want to do, and I've been meaning to do for a while. The Mozilla Firefox terms of use fiasco jumped in front because I was like, this is a quick video I can make very easily that I can do, one, to test my new camera, my teleprompter, and I can test out my new laptop to do some rendering tests with it. Because it was like, it's a little less than 7 minutes for that video. The Cubes video is going to have to be a little bit longer. I'm also going to have a separate video on Graphene OS, but I'm going to wait for that until I actually get deeper into the video. You have a short hint, what's worth checking out? There's a lot of things worth checking out. Depends on what you want to tinker with. I mean, I also, in terms of YouTube, still have to talk about Meshtastic, off-the-grid encrypted communications using LoRa, which is what this is. On Cubes, just install cubes and set it up the way you want. I mean, the thing about cubes is it's one of those devices, one of those systems or projects that you have to personally use it, wrap your head around it to understand how it operates in order for it to work best with your workflow or the, limited bits you can do with your workflow. Like, you can't really do proper GPU pass through on it because of the way it's architected, and the way they look at it is that they want to keep everything as open source as possible so that everything can be audited and validated. So yeah, you can do a lot with Cubes OS. I love it as a daily driver for being more secure, but it can't be a daily driver for, say, gaming and video editing and, if you're going to be doing, things that require you to share your screen with video conferencing, because the way the GUI and everything is set up, you can't share your screen because the graphical user interface is in its own VM. So I will be honest and say that it took me about like 3-4 weeks when I first used Cubes many years ago on a refurbished Dell laptop with a Core i5, Core i7, I think it was, many years ago, to fully wrap my head around using the operating system as a daily laptop. The first laptop I bought specifically for using Cubes daily was my Librem 14 laptop. I like that laptop, do not get me wrong, but I don't think I'm going to buy another Purism laptop solely because it looks like they haven't updated any of the hardware. If I recall, let's check it out right now. Yeah, they still are talking about the Librem 14, which I have right now, and they're selling this brand new laptop with a Core i7 10710U. Don't get me wrong, performance-wise, still a great laptop. Maxed out with 64 gigs of RAM. I think it's a great laptop for what it was at the time. But I would like to get a little bit more CPU power. Potentially a little bit more GPU. So the company I'm looking at possibly to replace my Cubes laptop, I'm waiting for them to do a little bit more certification and stuff, because I like the core boot and heads aspect of things, so that way we have an open source BIOS that actually can what's the word? Have anti-evil maid protections. The Tinker. You get a framework laptop. The thing about framework is it doesn't really offer anything, I think, specific to what I need and unique enough. So I'm looking at V54 with the Shoro core boot, and I would like to get, they have a 1920 by 1200 screen or a 2.8K display. I don't know, I might lean towards the 2.8K this time. But what I would like it to do is, if I could get 96 gigs of RAM, I'd probably only need 1 terabyte with that, maybe 2 at most. You can personalize it, so I would like to get my logo uploaded on it, just like, my other stuff. My other laptop, that'd be great. And then you can get the pawn rest engraved as well. But they finally got Cubes OS certification. So you would need 1920 by 1200. Okay, so it doesn't do the best. But here's the thing that, oh, they finally have it as an option. Core boot and heads. So this is what I would like to do. GPD laptops. I don't care for GPD. The reason why, they're not very right to repair friendly. They're not right to repair friendly, and they're definitely more towards Windows on the focus. Yes, I know they have options with Ubuntu and all that stuff, but they're just, they don't scratch my itch. Whereas my new Cubes laptop, which I'm talking like a new laptop next year. Not this year, but maybe next year, as soon as next year, maybe the year after. I want my new laptop to have core boot and heads, a little bit more memory, and a little bit more CPU. And I think this Nova Custom checks the boxes for what I need. GPD is never really that. Do you work in cybersecurity? Yeah. I have a CISSP certification. I'm working on CCSP later on this year. But yeah, let me see. If I fully loaded this laptop to the way I needed it or wanted it, with the Shara Core Boot, 3 years of support and security updates. Cubes OS. Let's check all the options in there. I mean, technically, the AX module. Okay. Intel BE200. You could remove the camera if you wanted. I'd probably get a privacy screen pre-installed. And get the camera slider. Hold on. We will apply a slider, and with this slider, you can effortlessly cover your camera and show your camera screen option. Only available for the camera, not the microphone. So that is one downside of this laptop versus my Core Boot my Purism laptop is my Purism has a hardware kill switch for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, as well as the mic and camera. So I physically can disconnect it, and it has a USB connection in there that I can turn it on and off. But this laptop I'm looking at probably be about $2,800, give or take, with shipping. The way I want it spec'd. Hold on, what's their warranty that you can offer on here? Oh, they give a 3-year warranty, repairs under warranty guaranteed within 5 working days. Okay, so they give you a 3-year warranty, similar to the laptop I have now. But yeah, this is just slightly more expensive than the laptop I currently have. But yeah, to be fair, I wonder, could I do the memory cheaper? Hold on. If I go to crucial.com, how Graphene will do with Mint Mobile. Graphene will work fine on Mint Mobile. Your ISP, not ISP, your cell phone provider, I mean, it's like your ISP, won't matter for Graphene OS. If you can install, it will work with eSIM just fine. I've tested it with multiple carriers, Mint Mobile included, Google Fi, Afani, T-Mobile. I've tried different. 2K is too expensive. Here's the harsh truth. 2K is kind of cheap for a device in cybersecurity and a lot of professional IT needs. Because a lot of us need power. Do you do video editing in Linux? Yes. Yes, all of my videos have been edited in Linux. The only thing my Windows box does over here is it's connected to OBS to my cameras. It handles the streaming because it's over here, and some streaming plugins only work on Windows. That's the unfortunate reality. But all the primary work in terms of my video content creation is done in Linux. And I use Kdenlive. I use the same software in, you know, like here. Why are you missing things? Oh, I see why. It's the music in there. Here, we'll just use another, but that file was, that was just a goof on me. Normally what I do is I place everything in the, same folder, but you can see this was all edited in Linux using Kden Live. The audio, EQ, everything, all of it, Linux completely using Kden Live. And then to render the video on my desktop, I use NVENC to get H.265. Now, on the laptop, when I was doing AMD, it's H.264 for the acceleration over here. So, of course, the NVENC will let me do H.265 a little bit. But, yeah. What's the program for this evening? The usual ADHD mess of different things and getting into just what I've been up to lately. So I am going to check one thing before I show you some other stuff, and then we'll get into Doom Eternal as well. I'm just curious, if I were to drop DDR5 myself into the laptop, the only reason I didn't do it in my other laptop was Tuxedo just charged so cheap for it. We just need a SODIMM module, 96 gig upgrade kit, buying options. Oh, damn! That's so much cheaper if I did it myself. Like $300? They're upcharging quite a bit. So what I'll probably do is just drop the 16 gigs in. Because, like, they want close to little over $600 to do that. I'd probably just do the 16 minimum they need for Cubes OS. See? 16. And then what I would do is buy this kit and install it myself from one of these. Probably get it from Micro Center, pick it up in person. Well, it depends on who had it. Well, whoever had it cheaper. But yeah. That'll be... So that way, the new laptop with Cubes OS will be just about as much as the Tuxedo Computers laptop. It's because editing is free on Linux? No. You can run Kden Live on Windows or Mac. It's because I use Linux every day. Also, if I get a Raspberry Pi, I'm totally getting a SIM card slot. You mean a SIM? Not CIM? Or is there a different thing? What's up, Shiraz? Where can I go to start looking for networking events? Because right now, the meta is connections are more than standard applications. Oh, yeah, absolutely. So let me help you out with there. I already thought about this. There's a YouTube video I made. I made this a couple months ago. Let me see if I can pull it up so I can actually make sure I get the title right. We have some resources in there. So if we go into... Hold up. Must attend cybersecurity events and tips for finding tech networking opportunities. Made this 6 months ago. Hey, all. And if you go down here, you've got resources. Oh, okay. But yeah, if you go, Shiraz, if you go into my YouTube, there's a video called Must Attend Cybersecurity Events and Tips for Finding Tech Networking Opportunities. That's exactly what you're talking about. And in here, you have links. Like InfoSec Map, infosec-conferences.com, Eventbrite, Meetup. Just plug in what you're looking for. I already got you covered, bro. Well, if you want a SIM card slot, the MNT Pocket Reform also has it built in, but I'm just tinkering with getting this working out the way I want. My pleasure, Shiraz. But yeah, that should help you out quite a bit. Now, of course, so I talk about different things, like local DEF CON groups, local B-Sides groups. There's also different events I found that are local to each area. So you may have to go on Eventbrite, you may have to go on Meetup, you may have to go on an InfoSec map, InfoSec-conferences to find all the different things. There's groups like ISSA, there's groups, like there's local DEF CON groups, as I mentioned. B-Sides happens once a year, usually very affordable event to go into. It depends on the region you're in, but the tickets to those events are generally $25 to $100. They're definitely learning events. You can meet some great people out there. But yeah, there's quite a lot out there. A lot of people, as I've mentioned before in cybersecurity, emphasize too much on what certs do I need to get into the career. And I'm like, it don't matter the certs. It matters how you're, putting your ass out there. Because, people are shocked when I say, I only just got my first cybersecurity cert a few months ago. And I've been in the field for many years. And that first cert is CISSP. So obviously, in order to get my full CISP certification, I had to have 5 years of field experience. That proves you don't need the certs to get the job. At most, a cert will get you through HR. It's the fatal flaw I see from every freaking kid that gets into cybersecurity. Most of the people I know that got straight out of school and landed a cybersecurity job, they happen to network and run into the CISO or an architect or a manager at a company and then learn about, there's this position open. And now because they had a name to the face that they could actually apply and then say, hey, I applied, contact that person personally, and then push their resume along. What configuration? I've got several computers. I've got the Tuxedo computers laptop with I can show you the laptop I got that I'm starting to edit videos on. This desktop over here is a Ryzen 9 5950X, 64 gigs of RAM, with an NVIDIA 3070 and 4 different SSDs in it. That was before I got my NAS, so now it's just got a bunch of scratch disks. Best resource for learning about Meshtastic? Yeah, from the Meshtastic official website, and get in touch with communities. And if you can, look at the maps Meshtastic has out there so that you can actually see what nodes are available in your area. There are some local networks, local groups that talk to each other, and there is a huge amount of overlap between Meshtastic users and ham radio users. So it's definitely worth getting into amateur radio. And I am working on getting my technician license and hopefully getting to my general license. And if I, can expense the effort, I want to see about getting my amateur extra license. So that way I can, access all the bands and everything. Because I think it's only the 10-meter band I can access on technician, whereas they can also access the 2-meter and 6-meter bands on a general license. Now, you don't need an amateur radio license to use Meshtastic, but you can, by virtue of using Meshtastic and having an amateur radio license, can affix your ham tag to it, or your call sign. So let me show you the laptop that I got. Hold on. Notebooks. So 15 to 16 inch range. They have the Infinity books, which are alright. The Auras, the Infinity books, the Sirius. This is what I got, the Stellaris. So they have 2 models, Intel and then AMD. I got the AMD version. So you can get it with an i7-14900X, or I went with the Ryzen 7 8845HS. So this guy's got 8 cores, 16 threads, and you can do up to an NVIDIA RTX 4070, which I did, because the cost difference between the two is negligible. So what I have in here, now they're very affordable. It was only €227 for 96 gigs of memory, and then they're not charging much extra for the hardware. And then I put a 2 terabyte. They added a 4 terabyte version in here. Huh, interesting. I'll eventually upgrade to a 4 terabyte. But, I'll show you exactly what I got. Now, they installed it with Tuxedo OS. I got rid of Tuxedo OS. English US, left in that. It was 252 more euro for the, NVIDIA 4070. Now, I got, the custom logo. And, oh yeah, and they put the custom, key and everything. So I think my laptop came to about $2,500 altogether. Now, I buy my laptops to last at least 3 years, but if possible, up to 5 years. And I actually use them. I need it for virtual machines. I need it for a lot of different things. So I needed my laptop to be just as capable as my desktop, if not more capable. And I'll be honest, with that Ryzen 7 8845HS and 5600 megahertz of RAM, I feel like my laptop is more snappy than my desktop. It's insane. It kind of makes me want to upgrade this desktop, but at the same time, it's a want, not a need, because I'm still able to do plenty on this desktop over here. Now, another thing I did develop over here, I don't know if y'all saw it on the Words, Blue Sky, and Mastodon, as well as I shared it on Discord. I came out with a script here that I think is useful for some people. So in Linux, you need split tunneling often. Now, Proton, in their GUI, doesn't allow for split tunneling, which was one reason I stuck around with private internet access for so many years, even though I do not recommend them. They got bought out by another company that turned them to shit. They did have a good Linux GUI that actually let you split tunnel things easily out to your network. So I actually figured out a script. It's very simple. That's all there is to it, little bash script. All you do, add the subnets you want to have split tunneled out. So in my case, I have a couple networks. These aren't the exact ones, these are just samples in there. And then it reads your default interface from the IP route. It greps the tunnel, so it excludes the tunnel from it. And then it will, just do the thing. And then it will check your, making sure you have a valid route. And then loop through every subnet here, so it adds a static route. So if you're doing home labbing and a lot of stuff, yeah. So you prioritize more laptop over desktop? No. It's just a matter of the reality of, I built this desktop almost 3 years ago, and my laptop is brand new. So I'm going to, like if I were to build this desktop right now, it would have be equal in the laptop, if not more powerful. Like I'd probably have a 9950 in here and 96 probably 96 to 128 gigabytes of memory in there, with probably an NVIDIA 4070. But I built this system in the middle of COVID. So this is an older system. That's just the reality of the situation. But I'm not going to buy a laptop that's purposely less powerful than what's currently on the market just to kneecap me in the future and have to spend more money down the road. The one thing I think a lot of people need to understand, and this doesn't just apply to tech. Sometimes when you spend more money up front, you spend less money down the road. What I mean by this is, let's give you an example of boots. You can easily go to Walmart, buy a $30 pair of boots. But will those boots last you 5 years? 5 years of consistent work? No. They probably won't even last you 2 years, maybe a year. And you're going to go buy another pair of boots. Whereas I can actually, from experience, tell you, I go to 511, I spend $80, $90, And my boots will last me 3, 4, 5 years. I just replaced my 511 boots right before DEF CON. And when did I buy those last pairs of new boots? 3, 4 years before. And why did I replace them before I went to DEF CON? Because the tread was just starting to wear out. And when I say just starting, like there was still tread in there, but it was getting to the points where you could start seeing it was getting a little bit bare on a few spots. Just starting. Like there was plenty of tread. They worked fine in the snow and everything, but it's one of those like, you know what? I'm going to DEF CON. I'm going to be doing a lot of walking. Let me replace these boots now so I'll have new boots in winter. It's the same thing with laptops. Yes, I can buy a refurbished laptop or, a lower end laptop to do a lot of the things I need. But if I spend only like $1,000 on a laptop to get me what I need now, it may do what I need, but it won't do everything I need in a year or two, and I'm going to end up replacing it anyway. It's the same. It's like, yeah. You can apply the situation to so many different things. Now, does this always translate to everything? No. Like, straight up a $70,000, $80,000 car probably isn't going to do all that much different for the average person than buying a $20,000 car or a $30,000 car. But the logic holds up on many different things. So it's not that I prioritize one over the other. It's that when I'm going to buy new hardware, I'm going to buy a piece of hardware that will last me 3 to 5 years of my workload at the present, accounting for the future. So, like, this is 64 gigs of memory in here. Theoretically, I could do just fine with the CPU in here, put a new GPU, a new power supply, because I would have to get the new PCI Express rails, and slap another 64 gigs of RAM in there, and that'd probably be fine. But that's because I also planned for this to have some upgrade potential. But if I were to, say, go around and do that anyway, I may as well drop the $500-$600, maybe more, to get a 9950 and a motherboard. Why not just have a $20 laptop and do everything in the cloud with Terraform? Because I don't have internet a lot of times. And Terraform doesn't do a lot of my stuff. I can't do video editing in the cloud. I can't have all the assets. I can't do all that. So I'm not always on the internet. I'm not always going to be connected. And yeah. Oh, just showing shade at OX. I love the dude, but yeah. There are some things where I've even had to tell him, like, buddy, that's not going to work for everyone. And by the way, you can do Terraform and stuff locally in a lab if you want. You can set up a Raspberry Pi compute cluster, set up a local Ceph cluster. No hate to OX, just saying. There are some people that need to get a reality check on things. Like, do you know how many people came to me and said, well, Chief, you can go get an Apple laptop to do all of that stuff. Y'all are talking about, like, $2,500 may seem like a lot to you. Let's go to Apple and price out a laptop with the similar specs that I would need. Okay? We're going to need, obviously, the MacBook Pro because there is going to need to be a fan in there. All right? We'll go 14-inch. I always forget how they do this, okay? Like, look, out the gate, this is already kind of expensive. So, hold on. Is it the M4 Pro? 24 gig, 36 gig. Okay, so I probably need... Which one does the M4... How much memory does the M4 Pro support? Okay, so... Look at that! I ain't even, like, all the way to the memory I need, and it's already more than my laptop, without warranty. Now, let's get this to where I need it to be, just so I can... wow, the M4 Max chip, 14 core, 32 core, Apparently still doesn't support as much memory as you need. Okay, now we're talking. 64. To equal the amount of memory in my Purism laptop, my System 76 laptop, and my desktop. Just trying to get 1-to-1 on the memory level. We are already $1,300 more than my current laptop. Now let's get it to equal the amount of storage I have. It's just getting worse from here. Like, I'm not trying to do this. Now, let's add insult to injury. Let's add it to the bag, and let's get Apple Care. To equal the amount of warranty coverage, that's another $280. Okay? To get a Mac that has equal amount of memory and SSD space, I could buy 2 of my current laptops, but they offer payments. $5K! I wouldn't even justify that on this desktop. Okay? Let me put it this way. $5K for a Mac Pro would already be in the range of me upgrading this tower over here to a 9950 with an NVIDIA 5090. Not the 5070 I was looking at. Like, I just need a 5070, 5070 Ti, maybe a 5080. Like, that is more than I would need. Like, that is ridiculously into territory where it's like, no, this is kind of stupid. Like, we're now looking at the range of, like, I would have to be like, I could get a 5070 Ti or a 5070 Ti Super 50. You get the idea. One of those. I'm not too specific on, the numbers and everything like that with the models, but you know what I would need. But get one of those and then pair it with upgrading my monitors all to at least 2K. Because I'm on 1080p monitors. Okay? I'm perfectly fine with 1080p. But I will say, after being on my laptop with a, 2600 by 2560 by 1600 or whatever the resolution it is, I'm now considering going 2K on my own monitors over here. I just can't justify dropping $1,200 to $1,500 on replacing at least these 2 monitors. I want to. Yeah, I'm fine with multiple 1080ps. Like, I've got 5 1080p monitors. Well, this one's a 1440p monitor that was given to me for $100, but you get the point. These 2 over here are 27-inch Dell gaming monitors that were 1080p that I got on clearance at Micro Center for, I think $120 each. Now, the polarizing, film, the screen is starting to separate from them just a little bit at the top. I just took some black electrical tape and surgically attached them at the top so I can't even see them unless I look at the, little off-colored reflection. And they're just fine. But, this is what Mac would do. And then, you know what the craziness is with Mac users? And I've seen this firsthand from several people. They frequently will delude themselves into making excuses for their Mac. Let me explain. Yitz. Y'all have seen him give me food on camera and all that, the guy I'm dating. When I met him, he was using a MacBook Pro with, this was before the ARM series, just make this very clear for the timing, okay? With a Core i7, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and would constantly make excuses for his workload. Now, the guy is generally doing a lot of multitasking, maybe a little bit more than I do, where he would be doing Adobe, have Slack open, doing his, daily coding job with Visual Studio Code, and when Zoom meetings would happen, he'd have to close one of those things because there's not enough resources in there. And I literally overheard him in meetings where they're talking about it, and he couldn't demo the code because all those things were running. And he'd say, I'd show you what I'm working on and all of that and how it works, but we're on Zoom right now. And they'd all just be like, okay, yeah, we totally understand. His breaking point was, I shit you not. Some of y'all may remember when I was, I started doing streaming off of, before this desktop was built, I started streaming off of this System 76 laptop. Okay? And I was running OBS. We were doing Borderlands 2 after I just showed you guys about KVM, QEMU with Virt Manager so that we could do virtual machines. Completely forgot to shut down 3 VMs. Because we had the Unix gateway, the Unix workstation, and then we just had some random Debian or Ubuntu one open up. That was in the background after I played Borderlands 2 while it was streaming to OBS off of the same laptop, okay? Spec-wise, Ryzen 7 5700U with the integrated GPU on here and OBS. 64 gigabytes of RAM. Nothing super, super high-end. But this laptop could handle it running Pop! OS 2204. I think it was 2204. Maybe a 2004. I think it was 2004. Either way, it was Pop! OS. And when he saw me do that, and I remember shutting down the stream, and I'm like, oh, I forgot these VMs were running. Okay, shut down the VMs. He couldn't believe it. And he's like, you just did a stream? And you were opening the browser and everything, and you had 3 VMs open, and you played a video game? I'm like, yeah. It's just, that's a thing that happens. I'm like, why? Is that an issue? He's like, I have to shut down apps on my Mac. And I'm like, it's because it's a Mac. And y'all delude yourself into thinking that, you know, Mac is better, when in reality, you're not doing computing right. So the laptop he ended up replacing it with was a Dell Vostro. I helped him spec out a Dell Vostro. I think when he originally got it, it had 32 gigs of RAM. Maybe 16. He eventually added, it's now at 64. It has an NVIDIA 3050. And a Core i7. He uses Windows and Windows Subsystem for Linux for a lot of his work. And here's the funny thing. By virtue of him being a coder that uses Windows, he's opened himself up to more job opportunities because a lot of coders are snobby assholes that insist on doing everything on a Mac. And I hate to break it to a lot of people out there. A lot of industries are starting to move away from even offering Macs to developers because it's an expensive proposition. I know where I work. I went straight up to them and I said, look, you know, I know you're complaining. There's some issue around, you know, the way I have to set up my environment and everything. And I was like, could I, you know, possibly request a Mac as begrudgingly? Because, you know, they know I'm not the biggest fan of Mac. And they said, we're not actually offering any Macs out anymore. I'm like, oh, okay then. So, I guess I'll work on the, and then I went to my manager. I'm like, would you at least do the risk exception approval so that I can keep doing Windows Subsystem for Linux and, you know, work through? And he's like, yeah, no problem. Companies are starting to actively turn against Mac. And the reality is that's because Mac is horrible to maintain. It is in a business environment because it does not play well with a lot of security software. We have to intentionally hold Mac back from security updates because it will break the antivirus. And I know when a lot of people are like that, wait, your Mac is antivirus? Yes, it does! For compliance reasons! Don't bullshit yourself. You need an antivirus on Mac, especially in a corporate environment. Well, not antivirus, but an EDR, an endpoint detection and response, because it needs to be able to see what all the things are being accessed in the system in case there is a compromise or something like that. Yeah, audits don't care. Audits don't care that you have a Mac. Audits are going to see, so you don't have any EDR software doing any detections on your Mac. I may buy a ThinkPad as my next laptop. ThinkPads are nice. Don't get me wrong. ThinkPads are great. The only issue with the ThinkPad doesn't necessarily have to do with being a ThinkPad. It has to do with the fact that if you're working in the United States government, you cannot use Lenovo for government work. It must be a Dell, an HP, or an American company. You could technically use System 76 from my understanding because they're based out of Colorado, but you cannot use Lenovo. That whole China. Yeah, I wish IBM kept ThinkPad too. I really wish IBM was still making computers outside the supercomputer space. They did great. Windows Linux browser based is cheaper to manage an IT side for us. Oh, it's absolutely easier. I wish Macs allow you to add more RAM. They did, up until they soldered everything. So, this MacBook over here, I installed 16 gigabytes of RAM myself in here, upgraded the hard drive. You could, even if you wanted to, replace the DVD drive with another hard drive. There was a kit there from Otherworld Computing. So you could put 2 discs in there. Your thoughts on people installing Linux on Macs? I mean, you can do it, but the issue is there's not a lot of core support for a lot of things. So in terms of like Linux on a Mac, there is Asahi Linux, but I think one of the lead devs stepped down from it, and in part because of the demands of people that were on Mac. So you can install Asahi very easily. But I think the lead dev did step down. Let's check that. Hold on. Oh, damn, they lost another one? Another developer has dropped out of Asahi Linux, the project to get Linux up and running on Apple Silicon. On Tuesday, a developer going by Asahi Lena announced she would be pausing work on Apple GPU drivers indefinitely. Asahi Lena posted on Blue Sky, "I no longer feel safe working on Linux GPU drivers or the Linux graphics ecosystem." The Asahi Linux project added the developer to the past major contributors list and described Lena as a GPU kernel sorceress. Lena joined the team to reverse engineer the M1 GPU kernel interface and found herself writing the world's first Rust Linux GPU kernel driver. Outside of GPUs, she sometimes hacks on open source VTuber tooling and infrastructure. Okay, so she's a VTuber. And this was after Hector Martin, Asahi Linux project lead, resigned in February, citing developer burnout, demanding users, and Linus Torvalds' handling of the integration of Rust code into the open source kernel. The departure will cause headaches for Linux graphics support on Apple Silicon. Alongside Alyssa Rosenzweig, Asahi Lena had been one of the most prominent developers working on the Asahi Linux GPU's graphics stack. When Martin resigned from the project, a list of 7 contributors was compiled to manage the project going forward. Asahi Lena was not on that list. So you're having people with a lot of this institutional knowledge dropping out. I'm curious. Let's see what they meant by... Hold on, they have a Blue Sky post here. I no longer feel safe working on Linux GPU drivers or the Linux graphics ecosystem. I paused work on Apple GPU drives. I can't share any more details at this time, so please don't ask for more details. So they're not sharing details as to why they don't feel safe. Look, we could make all of the hypotheses that we want. But that's not great. Apparently they're a VTuber. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, we gotta go to X. Am I gonna have to log in? My story with Luna. This is a story. I know it's long, but please read it. Hold on. My story with Luna. Okay. It was written and kept private in June, and Luna had repeatedly accused me of being an abuser. Ooh, okay. Yep. I wonder if this possibly has something to do with it. That's unfortunate. I'm not going to go through this entire drama here, but it looks like an entirely unnecessary situation that happened to Asahi Lina. I hope she's doing well. I really hope the best for her. What about Intel-based Macs? More Linux availability on Intel Macs? Yes, but here's the reality. How long will Intel-based Macs be around? We know Apple's end game is to kill off Intel support as a whole. As it stands, if I'm correct, let me double check this. Okay, let's double check this before I make assumptions and make myself look stupid. I don't think you can buy Intel-powered Macs anymore. Nope. Not MacBooks, which means you probably have to go to a Mac Pro, which the Mac Pro is kind of stupid in terms of Apple Silicon, because, it's not any more powerful than the other versions. No, I think you can't even get a, Mac Pro with Intel anymore. Oh. Yeah, I think they're overall trying to kill it. Yeah, I thought they killed Intel. I was really close to get a $3,100 USD MacBook on my train to avoid a few taxes. Now I reconsider my choice. Yeah, if you want to look at a laptop, if you're looking at the big, manufacturers, Dell, Lenovo, HP. I'll probably lean more towards Lenovo and Dell. Although HP's build quality has gotten better, because I wish I would show you, but it would give a little bit too much information about where I work. The HPs we're now getting deployed at work really well. They have the Elite books at work. They're pretty nice. Now, I will say this. No matter if you get a Dell, HP, or Lenovo, don't get the consumer line of their laptops. Get their business lines. So, here, let's go through, So, with Lenovo, that's the ThinkPad. The ET, X, and P series are really great. The X and P are bellissimo. P is a workstation. X is a good, form factor to do a lot of things. T is a nice little everyday workhorse. E is definitely a more economical solution. How to order a business line laptop? Simple. when you go to, you know, buy the laptop, you see the laptops? Avoid Alienware. You're going to be probably looking at the Dell Pro Latitude. The XPS is okay, too. You're going to want to look at, what is it? Hold on. Is it Latitude? No, it's not the Inspiron. Inspiron's, I mean, cost-effective, but yeah. Go away. I think they got rid of the Vostro, which is what Yit's got. They move it to the Dell Pro. Yeah, I guess that's the Pro line right here. The Pro, the XPS, whatever you're needing there. So, you've got that. I do like the XPS laptops. They're pretty nice. The XPS 13 and 14s are really nice. That comes with a Snapdragon. I wouldn't be a fan of the Qualcomm CPU ones, but you can get the XPS 14 over here. So, like, let's look at this for a sec. Core 7, 155H, 16 cores, so possibly 32 threads. Throw on Windows 11 Pro, an NVIDIA 4050. You can install the memory yourself if you want. You can get a touchscreen if you want, but yeah. That's weird. The touchscreen with the better screen is technically better. Oh, that's why it's less than 100, because you have to drop the memory down. Okay. But yeah, anyway, Dell XPS, Dell Pro line is pretty good. Then you have the ARM chip is especially pretty good, especially for battery life. Yeah, but if you actually need to do damn work, it's not going to matter. This is what I keep trying to tell you. Your battery life means shit if you have to do virtual machines all day. It won't work for a majority of my workloads. And I need to spend over $1,000 for PC. The honest truth is, $1,000, I'm not trying by any means to be like bougie and say like, you know, you're a poor man if you don't spend this, but this is the honest truth. For a professional laptop to have a decent amount of life and usability out of it, $1,500 is kind of the low end. You can do fine with $1,000 for like an everyday laptop to do just messing around things. Yeah, it does for most word processing and web browsing is fine, but creator workloads, yes, don't go for the ARM. Yeah, especially if you're doing creative stuff. You're gonna need a proper GPU. No matter what Apple keeps trying to shill you with marketing and saying you can do all the creator stuff on an ARM CPU, the second you run that creative workload through an NVIDIA GPU, or even from what I've seen, the AMD CPUs using VAPI, holy crap. Not to mention, if you're doing creative stuff, you need, this is not a want, this is a need, minimum 32 gigabytes of RAM. Mac, Windows, or Linux. Ideally, 64 gigabytes of memory. M3 MacBook Airs that aren't that expensive used and are really good. But here's the problem. The Air overheats if you're doing a lot of consistent loads. You need a Pro. And what's the only difference between the Pro and the Air? A fan. That's the reality of it. Yeah, I have 64 gigs of RAM in both powers. My Streambox didn't need it. I will say that. The only reason I got 64 in here was the G-Skill memory that I originally installed in this tower started to go bad. There were streams crashing, and Windows was crashing, and it caused corruption in Windows and all that. And the kit, 32 gigabytes of Crucial, at Micro Center was sold out, and I needed memory today, and it was only $50 more for the 64 gigs. Just use the Air in winter. You know, I couldn't get it to work well enough, so I went to Walmart and I bought a window unit, and it just points right at the Mac. Do you run LLMs locally? Yes, I do. I forgot to make the link in my desktop, but here, I can show you. Shit. What is it? I run LLMs locally. So, usually I use DeepSeek R1 Distilled Quen or Llama. And I run them on my laptop more. You mess with Chat RTX at all? No, I have not. ThinkPads here only have an NVIDIA 500. So the NVIDIA 500, that may be the Quadro series. It may be a different NVIDIA. Dell Repair Guy YouTube channel. I don't think I have. You gonna go to DEF CON this year? I'm hoping. I still got a concern. Any security concerns with DeepSeek? No, because I'm running it locally. This is not using DeepSeek's website. This is running DeepSeek locally on my machine. Here. Because I'm using a 2-PC setup, I'll show you this. I have turned networking off, okay? We have turned networking off altogether. I'll just prove this to you. No network, okay? No network. There is no network running on my PC right now. But it's processing. So there is zero security concerns here because it's running locally on my machine. There's nothing being transmitted out. That's why a lot of people run their LLMs locally. See? And this exact reason of running LLMs locally is why a lot of us run want an NVIDIA GPU and stuff. Because as much as Apple tries to say, yeah, the ARM CPU is great for all these tasks and everything, the reality is an NVIDIA GPU is still going to beat it. And even on top of that, you know that Pixar, I learned about this just recently. Pixar does all of their movie rendering on render farms with CPUs and memory. It's only become recent that GPUs have enough memory to be somewhat competitive because they need AVX 512. And now that we're at this point that GPUs are able to be competitive, not NVIDIA GPUs. Yes, NVIDIA GPUs. Yeah, they use tons of Intel Xeons. And you can't scale a Mac system appropriately and tie it all together in a clustered system with all those M series CPUs, especially in terms of cost. It doesn't scale Apple cares more about keeping their margins by treating Apple devices like a luxury item than they do about actually making their product completely viable for true professional workloads. That's the reality of the situation. While for like little tinkering around, doing editing on the go, it might be great, but a lot of Apple users are deluding themselves into thinking that Apple is the better solution. A lot of Apple users keep using Apple because that's all they know, and they're so resistant to try new things and workloads. I bought a 4080 Super for $1K when they first came out. Looks like they're almost double now. What the heck? Oh, yeah. Well, that's because they canceled the productions of the 4000 series because now it's on the 5000 series. They want you to always use the newer stuff. The upgrade cost to go from 64 gig to 128 gig on the Mac Studio makes the RAM worth more than its literally weight in gold. Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Apple's making more money on the margins of the hardware than they're making on the actual stuff. The problem is Apple is still in this archaic way of thinking that we need to make money on the hardware. And the reason why they make the margins that they set the margins that they do is because they don't sell computers in the volume that they do. The reality of the situation is Apple doesn't sell nearly as many computers as Dell does, as HP does, as Lenovo does, individually. Put Apple compared to HP, Apple compared to Lenovo, Apple compared to Dell. They still sell far fewer units than they do the other companies. And they make more of their money on hardware. Dell, HP, and Lenovo are making money on services. Dell has professional services on the back end. Lenovo has professional services on the back end. HP has professional services on the back end. But all three of those companies also have other lines of hardware with servers. And in the case of HP, they have printers. Dell also has firewalls with SonicWall. HP also has networking equipment with Aruba. Apple pigeonholed themselves that the only way they really make money is from MacBooks, Mac computers, phones, the App Store, and music. And we all know music, in terms of streaming services and all that, doesn't make that much money. Like Snoop Dogg, I forget the exact number he quoted, but like he makes something like tens of thousands of dollars per song. To you and me, that sounds like a lot of money per year to be making on a song. But we both know, in terms of artistry, if someone as big as Snoop Dogg is only making tens of thousands of dollars per song, that means most people in the music industry are not making shit. Most musicians make money on concerts. Apple realized this weakness, and that's why they're getting more into services, such as Apple TV and everything like that. God damn it. I think I dropped the chat for a sec. I gotta reopen this. Hold on. Killed my own internet and I killed my chat over here. So I gotta catch up with what's over on these two screens over here. Thank God TikTok's not running tonight, because that'd be a nightmare. TikTok's been kind of boned for a while. Sell it, buy a used 6900 XT, take the gaming hit for 6 months, then go buy a 5080 and pocket the 500. I don't know, that's also a risky thing. Does Dell, HP, and Lenovo sell all those services to corporations? Apple doesn't have enough market share to justify the cost of those services. That's because Apple shot themselves in the foot. When they killed Xserve, they indicated to the business world that we don't care about business. They focused on the consumer world. And the only way you can justify charging that much for consumer hardware is you place yourself as a luxury brand. So you get the same idiots that spend tons of money for you to advertise another designer out there. I want you to think about it this way. Truly wealthy people aren't wearing Dolce & Gabbana, Versace, and all that actually have the logos branded everywhere that everyone looks at them and knows they spent money on these brands. Truly wealthy people have reliable cars, well-maintained, with good tires, which is why you've heard me say it before. Don't judge a person by the car they drive. Judge them by the tires they have on the car. Because if you got a BMW X5 and you got bald tires, you are broke. But if I see you coming in with a Subaru, a Saab, hell, even a nice Chevy, and you got some good tires, but they're not like bottom of the barrel tires. We're talking like you coming in a Pirelli. You got a SUV, you got Yokohamas. Like the good Yokohamas, the ATs. And they got plenty of tread on there. That's someone that's doing okay with their money. And these are people that aren't also wearing flashy brands. These are people that are buying higher quality versions of simple shirts that don't look like they're, too fancy or anything. What's up, Cinti? How you doing? Yeah, really rich people go low profile. I know this because I've rubbed shoulders with some pretty wealthy, affluent people by virtue of being in the business that I'm in. I've worked with some of these people. I've had the luxury, before some of these individuals have passed, to get mentorship from them. So I understand they're the reason why I don't go out wearing flashy brands. Like the flashiest thing you see me wear, this is an Old Navy shirt. You see me wear my DEF CON shirts, my EFF shirts, stuff that I spent good money on through donations and all that stuff, or vendor shirts. But you will never see me buy very, very fancy things. Like, okay, the most expensive thing you'll probably notice is like these glasses right here. Okay? What brand is that? Hold up. Ah, the logo's not on that side. Wait, it is. You just can't see it. These are Toomey. Eyeglasses, Toomey. But do you know where I got these? Costco. My other frames are usually Oakley's, which I got at Costco. System 76 released these months, shipping to my country. Such great news. Oh, that's nice. Is System 76 actually releasing any more keyboard formats? Because that was one of the issues I know a lot of people ran into. And one of the reasons why I've been talking about Tuxedo Computers. Tuxedo Computers has a lot of different international standards, formats for keyboards and everything. Okay, so yeah. Costco, gotta have exclusive membership for that swag. I got the executive membership, baby. Which, by the way, you want to save money at Costco, get the Costco executive membership. Get the 2% back on everything you buy. Then what you do is you get the Costco credit card. You get 5% back on their gas, 4% if you use electric, 2% back if you're actually buying anything at Costco. My Costco executive membership pays for itself every year with the 2% back I get from groceries. Oh, the warranty at Costco is really great. You get 1 year extra on the manufacturer's warranty for appliances and everything. So let's do some math here, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So every 2 weeks, roughly, I spend about $300 at Costco between dog food, cleaning supplies, everything. You know, all that, everything. That's $7,800. Costco is one of the few companies that don't mind getting spam sells emails from. So if I get 2% back, that's $156. That pays for its membership plus $26. Now, at 7,800, getting 4% back, that's $312. So between my credit card and paying it off every month in full, and getting the Costco executive membership, I'm making another $180 that just ends up going back to Costco groceries, so it pays for itself. But also, if you go shopping for, if you get the gas and everything there, I put roughly, $30 in every 2 weeks, times that, at 5%, that's an extra almost $40. That's how you learn to make your money, make your own money. These are little things I learned from being mentored by some wealthy people. All right, ads running in about 20 seconds here. Nature's calling, so we're going to take a quick commercial break. You're not going to miss anything, and I will be right back. So, BRB. Where's the button? Okay. And we're back. Speaking of Costco, I think I need to get a new washing machine. Not that I think there's anything wrong with my washing machine per se, but I noticed this issue. I don't know if anyone else sees this, where when I set my stuff on bulk, it doesn't drain all the water and drain and spin, and then I have to turn the knob to just do the drain and spin cycle all by itself again, maybe once or twice. Anyone else have that issue with your washing machine? I don't know. Hey, thanks for the sub, Fart Buckle. Appreciate that. I feel like a grown-up because I got my first membership with Costco 2 weeks ago. Third six. I've had Costco for like 2017, 2018, I want to say. I've had it for a minute. I was a Costco kid before it was cool. But seriously, that Costco hot dog for $1.50 slaps. Because, like, where else are you going to go and get lunch for $1.50? The pizza's not too bad, too. Like, let me put it on this way. The Costco pizza is on par in pricing with Little Caesars. But the flavor and ingredients overall with the Costco pizza is just so much better. But yeah, I've been, the only thing I'm complaining about Costco right now is wait, you got an ad for the hub, like the adult hub, the orange and black hub that goes boom, boom, boom before certain videos. You know the one, the naughty one. Holy shit, you got an ad on Twitch for that? Okay, Twitch, we need to have a talk. This is my dad face camera. All right, Twitch. Y'all nasty. You don't allow the nasty. Really? I'm not judging. I'm not judging anyone that gets their bread out there. But we all know those hot tub streams, they ain't about tubbing. They're about, well, something else that ends in ing, but starts with F. I'm not saying, I'm upset with you. I'm just saying I'm disappointed. I was playing a game and heard the music behind me. Sure, vampire, is that your excuse? My hand just slipped right over into my dick. See, I'm not streaming a TikTok right now, so I can say this shit. Vampire BO over here like, you can't touch me there, that's my no-no square. But I can. Speaking of naughty things, have y'all seen on HBO there's a TV show called The Righteous Gemstones. I started watching that on HBO Max, and it is hilarious. Like, you got John Goodman, Danny McBride, and what is it, Adam Devine, whatever his name is, from Workaholics. Great cast. It is a wild ass show making fun of the hypocrisy of megachurches and shit. Yeah. I don't know if y'all seen it, but it's definitely worth watching, in my opinion. I know I enjoyed the shit out of that show. They're currently on their final season. It's the 4th season. I got to episode 2 of the new season while I'm waiting for new episodes to come out on Max. Yeah. You're wild. Yeah. But yeah, you're on the TV behind me as I'm playing A Ground Zero. What's a Ground Zero? I haven't played that before. I still need to get through a lot of my game catalog. In fact, we'll probably be switching gears to Doom Eternal in a couple minutes out here. For the gaming on Linux portion over here. And then next stream we'll probably be doing some testing of gaming performance of gaming on Linux with Black Myth Wukong. Because I know that's one of the most demanding games that I have in my library, to see how well the NVIDIA 4070 works on that laptop. I'll probably try it out with the AMD Radeon 780M in there. It's like Minecraft, but with laser guns and tech. Like Minecraft in terms of blocky, or like Minecraft in terms of like the... I'm curious now. I gotta look that up now. Is it on Steam, I take it? a ground zero. Pop OS is daily Linux OS? Yes, it is. Okay, I see. I see. It's like Minecraft with more pixels. The world has ended. You are deep underground and all alone with a cheery AI companion. You will have to mine and build and survive and search for other survivors to help you. Will you be able to reach the surface? And what will you find when you get there? Okay. Interesting. I got a demo. It's sad that YouTubers only recommend pay ads on their laptop ranking. What? Wait, what? HD Minecraft. That's what it feels like. That's fun. Let me know what you think of that game. I might grab it sometime. It's pretty new. No, wait, no, it's not. I was like, it's pretty new. No, I forgot. It's 2025, not 2024. Forgive me. I'm an idiot, okay? Look, man, I just work here. You redeem the Pikachu hat. One of these days, I'm gonna wear this hat out in public. I should wear this to DEF CON. As multiplayer, too. Huh. We could probably do that together. Probably use the Discord voice chat. Okay, so... Oh, yeah. I forgot why I was going to the desktop. So let's do a test for the audio before I switch gears over here.
Front, left, front, right.
Cool. Audio goes through. Always got to do that because of the pipe wire thing. I should probably put this... Not this script. I have a script over here to do a reset of pipe wire and configure it and everything because, you know, it gets annoying. But, alright, let's see. Oh, and also, when I get back to doing TikTok live streams, I'll probably be setting the game to just Wolfenstein, because I think that's the loophole I discovered for not getting banned. And I definitely want to beat Doom Eternal before the new Doom comes out, if possible. I don't know when the new Doom is coming out. Has anyone heard any news about the new Doom? Like, what is it? The Doom, Dark Ages, I think it is. If you can't tell... Oh yeah, and there's supposed to be like a Half-Life RTX mod, which we will be playing that as well when the Half-Life RTX mod comes out. I think the demo so far, it's good. There are other ground games, which was 2D version. Okay. But I know that, I know I'm like a little bit like old in this way, but I love Doom. I love Wolfenstein. I like the simplicity of a lot of these games where it's like you can jump in, just do the thing. There's a little bit of a story. Half-Life, all of this. But also, I feel like a lot of the games today, just for some reason, are, kind of letting us down. Like, it feels like a lot of games today are being released, and then, like, they expect it to be patched or, you know, whatever. Like, they're released incomplete.
You can now find the remaining Hell Priests by activating your Celestial Locator. The hub has several areas locked off due to power constraints.
Oh, shit.
Power has been restored. You will be able to access the entire ship.
I think I lost part of my, progress. No, wait. I didn't. I forgot they have this, like, weird way of doing things. Sentinel batteries. Still not used to this style of like how Doom Eternal does things.
Sentinel energy levels rising. Re-establishing power to core and supplementary systems.
Acquire the ice bomb. Wait, where is this? To launch an ice bomb. G to swap. Okay, no, I didn't lose progress.
Modification to your
It just had me go back to the,
Once fired, the bomb will douse nearby enemies in freezing gases. You'll have to manually toggle the launcher to fire either
take
ice
the lift
bombs
down
or
to the
frag
prison.
grenades.
So this is one thing that I find annoying about Doom Eternal, is they're trying to, like, blend too many different game styles in, where I'm like, motherfucker, just get me to smashing in the demons. And give me a story along the way. I don't need to go around and find little things. Look, I'm very simple. I just want to get to the killing. Thanks, Reform Timo. Repertorium. So many things to go to. Demon Prison. The Demon Prison allows you to practice fighting demons without dying or permanently losing inventory, such as ammo or and extra lives. Progress. Okay. Yeah, this is nice. At least you can try out this stuff, but I don't know, it still feels like kind of weird that you're doing all this. Like, I don't know, I still find that I like Doom 3 the most out of all of my Dooms. Like, it feels like they focus a little bit too much on the, glory kills in this game. That's just me. What is that? Raider suit points. Okay. Why are you having me run around here? I just want to get to killing demons. This just feels like it's a bit too much. Like, why can't I just access the menu and do the points and all that shit? Okay, hit and run, faster dasher, ice bomb, frag grenade, environment, exploration. Reveals auto map station, location, auto map. Reveals all progression items on the dossier. Okay, so that uses 1. Rad suit takes less damage. Grappler, faster ledge grab. Fine. Okay. I mean, on one hand, I like this game. On the other, I feel like they made the game a little bit too complex, because Doom used to be like a very simple game that you just jumped in and you're like, killing demons! In space. Mission challenges. Completing any mission challenge awards a Schrader point. Completing all mission challenges awards a Sentinel battery. These demons are a little bit too slow, both physically and mentally. And I also don't like this fucking puzzle bullshit they have us do. God damn it. Are you serious? Okay, this makes no sense to me. Where the hell am I supposed to go? God damn it. So, I gotta do this. But how do I get there? That's the whole other question. See, this goes into the category of I think they overcomplicated this game a little bit. And knocked you out, bitch.
The Health Priest is somewhere in this facility. I cannot pinpoint his exact location at this time.
Yeah, I feel like they focus a little bit too much on the glory kills and stuff, but I've said that before. I feel like you should be able to ground pound that. Woo! Whee! When it goes beep, that means bad, right? Okay. Am I supposed to, like, punch that or something? Do I need the cultist key, it looks like? goes.
Welcome, Slayer. Is my time at an end? Let's see if you're strong enough to survive this cursed city.
Goddamn Brumac looking motherfucker. I always say they look like the Brumacs from, what you call it, Gears of War. Weak point, Mancubus. Oh, these dudes. Got your heart. Got your nose. Yeah! Eat shit and die, motherfucker. The number one rule of Doom, never stop moving. Hey, Praetor coin. There's a little cross over there. Okay. No! I don't like these fucking little stupid puzzles it has me do. Eat shit and die. Woohoo. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Ooh. At a weapon point. Get some armor. Was that it? Whee! Cultist key. how to get that shit. Ooh, that was a little close. That's right. Eat shit and die. Alright, we got the cultist key. Okay, got that. We're almost at max ammo. I got one chainsaw. Plasma rifle can quickly destroy energy shields, which trigger a damaging explosion. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we need to get over here. I do not like these damn puzzles that I gotta solve shit for. This feels like some X plus Y solve for C kind of bullshit. Oh! Fucking A. Ooh, rocket launcher. You gonna make a big boomy? Eat shit and die, motherfucker! God damn it! Are they all gone? Did I kill them all? Fucked them all up. Oh. Oh. I gotta go that way. Like I said, I do not like this fucking Assassin Creed mix-up of shit. No! Motherfucking cunt nuggets. Choose a rune. Launch a glory kill. Increases how long enemies killed by equipment under influence will decrease for recharge time. Slow down time. Enemies killed by a plunge. Survive one death blow and briefly slow down time. Alright. Get another rune. Alright, so... okay, we got that equipped. Push his skull in, and let's get on to the next step. Talk about a reach around. Hey, husband, how's it going? Thanks for the alert. Hope work's okay, going okay. Alright, come on. Woo! Ooh, that speed boost is working out nicely. Okay, so let's see. Arsenal. If we get weapon points. Oh, I see. Micro missiles. Kills with the heavy cannon. How many? Oh, we got 6 weapon points. Nice. Okay, so if we get sticky bombs, launch 5 sticky bombs, heat blast. Damn, I need one of those. One of those what? Just to look badass. What, the Pikachu hat? Or the, we'll boost micro mana. Micro missile recharge. Sticky bombs. Destroy 25 Arcanon trinkets using the... Oh, the cannon. Okay. Okay, so we got 2 weapon points. Okay. Remote detonate. Lock-on burst. Nice. Modded the rocket launcher. Had that Pikachu hat too. Alright, we got health. In some ways, they kind of plot out the map for you, but I still don't like the
beast
hoops that make you jump
to me,
through.
my brothers and sisters, but he is weak. Your hate must match his will. Only then will you be truly saved.
Got your eye! Alright, let's move fast with these glory kill. Come on! Woo! Give me the ammo, bitch! Got your head. Ooh, stabbed you in the back, et tu, brute. Ooh. I need that ammo. Eat your heart out, bitch. Oh, you want some too? Are you the last one? There we go. Still got plenty of rockets. Make sure I didn't miss anything in the ammo sweep. I don't know, this just feels like such a weird shift in the pace of the game from Doom 3 and all the other Doom games. Oh wait, I see Sentinel battery. There we go. Wait, there's something I can punch over here. Oh, I see. If I can time this right... Woohoo! Secret!
Your salvation lies in his destruction. The myth of the Slayer's strength is exposed now to us. Can you see it, brothers? He has lost the resolve.
This is definitely a game you need to have a high amount of frames per second for.
I must survive this. Protect me in my time of need, and you will secure your place in the new world.
I don't get why you can just like punch them when you get a blood-filled punch and then it kills them, but then like other punches don't. There's certain like aspects of this game that make no sense. Like you gotta shoot them before you kill them.
Nearby. A relic from your past. The priests have kept it hidden from you in this remote location.
The floating demon heads. Well, ain't that lovely? Okay, what the hell am I supposed to do here? Cue ball. Cue balls are ancient demons that wander around the world. Shooting them sends them flying, and when they collide with other demons, they generate a bigger explosion. Okay.
Attention, all mortally challenged personnel. The Slayer is inside the facility. Please proceed with aggression.
Stabbing yourself in the eye, man. See you later, free Reform Teamo. Thanks for hanging out. Alright, so let's see where we gotta go next. Auto map. Yep, no way around it. Am I out of shoddy ammo? Pushing the skulls in. Let's go. Alright, let's see. Napalm Belch. Oh, I forgot about the Napalm Belch. Loot magnet. Health for blood. As long as you're at max health. And... got more health? Hooray. Tuned in and lurked. All I could hear from coming from basement. How goes Doom? Doom's going great, Alone Donut. This is my first time playing Doom Eternal, so... definitely interesting compared to the prior Dooms. Or optional timed encounters hidden in the world. Any resources spent in a secret encounter will not be restored after a retry the secret encounter. Solid development of 2016. Yeah, it's just totally different than the other Dooms that I played. What the shit? How did I fail? Nope, I'm out of lives. Gotta do it in the time window. Oh, okay. Shit. I see what you mean. There we go. You know, whenever they give you health and armor, nearby ammo, it's gonna be a bad time. I am looking forward to the new Doom game they have coming out, apparently. Hey, Praetor token. Shit and die, motherfucker. Daddy needs some ammo. Yeah. Any more? You got a Sentinel battery over there. It just touched the floor once. What do we got over here? look like a bad dude. Iron Maiden? What the fuck's going on over here? Hold up. I'm in?
Neural connection successful. You are now in control of the Revenant drone.
I'm now in a Revenant drone? What the hell? That's trippy. Oh, you don't get glory kills in here. Kind of like cheating a little bit that I can fly around like this. That is kind of interesting that you can fly around as a Revenant. Nice little touch. Super shotgun, close range weapon that features the meat hook mod. When in range of a demon. Grandma! I do not like how low on ammo I am. Oh, we're playing Doom Eternal. Alright, come on. So we got all of them down.
Attention, all cultist base personnel. Please destroy the Slayer. The priest must survive. I repeat, the priest must survive.
Alright, let's go up. Like I said, it's Doom Eternal. I love the Doom series. I just never played this one. Okay, so we gotta jump around to that head. Yeah. Well, I guess we gotta do this. Crater token. All right. That should give us... Oh, we got 5? Regenerating barrels. Barrels that have exploded will respawn after a short duration. Frag. Scatter bombs. Frag stock up. Mr. Ledge. Hot swapper. Weapon switch. Hit and run. Dash refilled on glory kills. Slayer Atlas. Alright, run on accretion OS. I haven't played that one. Okay, we can do less hazard damage. Let's do immunity from barrels. Then we got 2 more. Ammo from exploding barrels. There we go. Woo! Don't know how I survived that. I forgot you gotta wait for the dash to refill, and I moved just a little bit too quick. my buddies built it. We have a couple of flavors built at launch. I just kind of tend to stick to Pop OS because it works for all the stuff that I need. My days of distro hopping are kind of done because I've been using Linux since the Slackware days. I just need shit to work for my work. No! God damn it. Fucking hell. Yeah. Okay, I see. Shit, ran a little bit too low for that. Woo! A little too close for comfort. Nice secret. See you later, Linux Gamer. Sweet. Got that dude taken care of. Alright, let's see. What's the next step here? I punch that. I'm a little confused. What do I need to do here? Nope, nothing on that edge. What the fuck? Did not know that was there, but I guess that's why it's a secret. Alright, let's see. What... I'm a little confused. What am I supposed to do here? Okay, let's see. Look up a hint here. Infiltrate cultist base. Yeah. Okay, we've got past the Revenant. Okay. We'll come in. Drop down through the platform we brought through. Shoot the button again while standing on top, but immediately run off. Oh. There we go. That was not very clear as to what was going on.
Tired, Slayer. We will break your will yet. Oh, I already have the cultist key. Broke your arm. Alright, trying to get them points. Okay, so let's see.
Slayer gate. Okay. Where do we need to head to next? Nope. That ain't what I need to do. Okay, so we got this big-ass demon dude in the middle of the floor. Got that thing over there. I'm a little confused. Okay, so I need to launch myself to here. Okay, that lifts that gate, which then lets me bungee off. There we go.
Fear you. This match is not won yet. Come find me, Slayer. I will be waiting.
Take the train to the terror drone. God damn, this level just keeps going and going and going, doesn't it? All this ammo and health. Yep, we're in for a big boss battle. We also got a Praetor token over here. Doom Eternal Mastery. You now have all the tools you need to succeed in Doom Eternal. Glory Kills, Flame Belch, Chainsaw, Ammo. Stomp, motherfucker. We're gonna go woo! I'm gonna need that ammo, bitch. Ammo me. Stop stabbing yourself, bitch. I'm gonna need that help.
The priest has stopped moving. I will lock in signal now.
Alright. Let's see if we can finish up this level at least for the night. Whee! I didn't get that. Nice. All right. I think that's a good note to save the game on. Awesome. Excellent. Well, thank you all for joining me. We had a great time talking tech and, gaming on Linux, of course. I love Doom Eternal. It's interesting. I'm still more partial to Doom 3 and everything. But thank you all for joining me. I will be back to streaming on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure, if you haven't already, to follow me on Blue Sky, Mastodon. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube, and of course, if you haven't already, make sure to join the Discord and the Matrix server as well. We have a nice community out there. Tech, cybersecurity, gaming on Linux, all of the above, nice hangouts, all that, and we do movie nights every Saturday evening. I thank you all for joining me. I love y'all. Happy hacking. Stay safe out there, and stick around for the raid if you're over on Twitch. See you all on Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If there are any issues, of course, work-related and all that, I will let y'all know on Blue Sky, Mastodon, and Discord as well. So, thank you all. Happy hacking. See you Tuesday.
right.